I'd like to give some closure on why I withdrew my country and Title IV flag from the United Nations on December 3rd, 2024. August 12th, 1999. David-Win Miller, who is now deceased, and myself, Russell-J. Gould, filed for the copyrights on the Title IV flag sections 1, 2, and 3. Since we knew the United States Inc. and the United States of America was coming out of their third and final bankruptcy ending on November 2nd, 1999. When the United States Inc. and the United States of America came out of their third and final bankruptcy, it ended their corporate authorizations for a flag, treasury, FEMA, military, and postal authorizations of the United States Inc. and the United States of America. It also terminated the authorization for a corporate trustee called the president. And that's why, since 1999, all presidents have been fraudulently placed in a selection because there is no government for there to be a president of. So it's just a selection, and it's quite a sad thing to watch the people fall into this BABBLE-ON trap of the social engineering to create fake leaders called presidents who do what they want, take us to war, and undermine the safety of the citizens of the former United States of America. So this is why there's no borders, because they don't have to have a border because there's no boundary line anymore. By filing for the copyrights of the Title IV Sections 1, 2, and 3 flag at the United Nations, it gave me a platform to further educate foreign countries on the decentralization of banking using quantum grammar and the quantum banking system as a neutral platform for honesty and full closure with the words on contract. In the year 2001, since David and I had filed for copyrights, the Title IV flags 2 years earlier, the United Nations gave me a chance to register my country called Universal-Postal-Union, which is also known as the Unity-States of a World Corporation, which is now known as the Global-Postal-Union. And I registered that with the Postal Administration at the United Nations in the year 2001. By doing that, it allowed for further growth by me to articulate transition, give full closure on how you're positioning your words in contract to make them facts as the facts. So using the prepositional phrase to articulate the transition to create a translation between foreign languages. When I registered my country with the United Nations, I also registered it with the Universal Postal Union in Bern, Switzerland, as well as the U.S. Pentagon and the U.S. Post Office in Washington, D.C. Upon this growth of registering my nation with all the corporate entities around the world, it gave me a great platform to further articulate translations between languages, and I was given the chance at the United Nations to meet with many ambassadors at the United Nations between January 2003 and May 2003, where I was given access to more than 80 ambassadors and embassies, and I had meetings with diplomats to talk about my creation of the quantum banking system. The quantum banking system is multifaceted and covers many genres of what we call the BABBLE or BABBLE-ON banking system, which they have out here to the general public today, which articulates words that are modified with adverbs, words that are modified with adjectives, creating pronouns, and creating a system where the attorneys in corporate America changes and moves the goalpost of terms because the words don't mean anything because they're undefined. So with the quantum banking system, the decentralization comes where everyone gets their own banking system where they articulate their words with facts as the facts using prepositional phrases to certify their facts, otherwise known as nouns. And so it gives a platform for claimants to board the contract of the Global Postal Union where they now can set up their sovereignty to articulate their words and translate between different foreign languages and lose no deviation in their sentence structure, maintaining a position of neutral, of no past tense or future tense ideologies within the sentence structure of the quantum banking system. So everything is harnessed now, in the now space. And when you place things in neutral of the now you can look at things for what they really are and articulate and fix any flaws that you may have in your systems. When I was at the United Nations in 2003, I was given a chance to meet the head of the United Nations Postal Administration, Robert Gray. And I did a 45-minute meeting with him at One UN Plaza, where I had a conversation with him about postal mechanics, the quantum banking system, and some of the things that I was articulating for neutrality in grammar. And he was very fascinated and had a bunch of questions for me, and I answered them. And I had some questions for him, and when I asked him my questions, he didn't know the answers. So I told him he was disqualified under a lack of knowledge, and the United Nations, he said, wanted to be a student of the quantum grammar. I said that would be fine because I'm here under an educational volition only, because the citizens of the world are writing an adverb verb and they don't have any knowledge of the quantum system. They don't use nouns and facts as facts when they write contracts. Therefore, this is an educational system at this point, as I'm educating the United Nations and was given access to all these different platforms within the United Nations. So it was a good meeting. At the end of the meeting, after he disqualified himself and said he wanted to be the quantum banking system student the United Nations did, I said, yeah, that would be fine because, it's complete education at this point. He then, with his people, came in and took a picture of me in the foyer there at the plaza, and it was a good conversation. So I really got to grow as a person just to learn how to be more diplomatic, as well as I rewrote the structure form of the Vienna Convention for embassies and diplomats on a global level, and I published that there. So that really expanded my mind as well. Just a lot of knowledge. It took me about a year to complete that task, but it was a wonderful platform that I had built and created a lot of accountability and honesty between diplomats as they negotiate contract and corporate transactions between nations. However, as a young man, my father gave me access to the John Birch Society and books like Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World. And I also was given access and got to read books from Atlas Shrugged, which gave me a different perspective on how a global society is and where they were going with their concepts of globalism. And their concepts of globalism did not match my perspective of moral values and ethics. And so I did not condone the United Nations and what they were doing when I was there in 1999 to 2003. However, my love for life and fairness and honesty has taken me into many places. I've neutrally observed different behaviors and patterns that undermine my values for the love of life, people, fairness, and honesty. And for these reasons, I have withdrawn my flag and country from the United Nations. I no longer authorize the United Nations to be my students. I no longer authorize or condone any corporations in contract with the United Nations to use the Title IV flag, quantum grammar, and the quantum banking system. In the contracts that I have filed with the United Nations in December of 2024, I'm authorizing the United Nations as a corporations and a corporation's headquarters in New York City to be kicked off the North American continent. I'm authorizing the United Nations to leave the North American continent and set up their corporation headquarters anywhere else but not on the North American continent. After 25 years of having the Title IV flag and my country is logged at the United Nations, I was giving the United Nations a chance to come into the correct grammar and do the correct thing for the world to create neutrality and peace for mankind. However, over the last 10 years, the United Nations' volition to create discord and undermine societies and culture around the world through allowing NGOs and other organizations, affiliates such as the World Health Organization, to go stronger in a paradigm shift to create harm to society and my fellow mankind. And the bombardment of all the fraudulent grammar that these corporations and NGOs have used against we the people. I'm also not authorizing the United Nations to use quantum grammar against the people anymore. So now the people have a safety net against the policy forcers of the United Nations who would come against we the people. So I know that some of you may think that, well, hey, why did it take so long? Or why only kick the United Nations off the North American continent? Well, they need to go everywhere. I mean, they need to get totally off the planet as far as I'm concerned. But it's going to be up to the people of the location to use correct grammar to move them out of their countries that the United Nations are going to have to move to. So the United Nations and their affiliate corporations cannot use quantum grammar nor the Title IV flag. I have given publication with the United Nations on December 3rd, December 4th, and December 5th. And they've been given written closure to leave the North American continent. Now, what does this mean for the claimants and postmasters who have joined the quantum banking system? It means that each corporation in contract with the United Nations has zero enforcement on any policy and mandate that they may try to enforce compliance on. It means that corporations like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, non-governmental organizations, and the World Health Organization, who are in contract with the United Nations, cannot enforce their policies against the claimants and postmasters. And now, the claimants and postmasters have a position of grammar to safeguard their lives, their sovereignty, and their neutrality. And the condition of state that they have is neutrality, peace, and happiness. To control the sovereignty of the direction of their lives and lifestyles will be placed in the hands of the people. And as they move out of the earth space banking and move into their divine space banking paradigms, their fate and destiny can now be in their own hands.
Let's get these beaters out of here.